Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So what's this bill about? The bill seeks to address illegalities that involved in the setting of rates by the Kaipara District Council. And the context for this, sir, is that the Kaipara District Council entered into loans to pay for a wastewater treatment plant at Mangawhai, which was worth substantially less than was paid for it. In doing that, the Kaipara District Council incurred an $80 million debt for its ratepayers, and the consequence of that is that the ratepayers of Kaipara District Council, and particularly the ratepayers of Mangawhai, have been saddled with an unsupportable debt. And the upshot for everyone here who I'm sure pays their rates bill every month or every quarter is that ratepayers in Mangawhai who were paying, say, $2,000 a year for their rates are now paying up to $6,000 a year for their rates. That is the impact on the ratepayers of Mangawhai. Is it any wonder, sir, that they are ropeable about this situation? What this bill does, this validation bill, it sets out to regularise, to validate decisions that were made by the Kaipara District Council that I would submit, sir, based on the speech of the member sponsoring this bill, Mike Sabin, were variously illegal, mismanaged, incompetent and negligent, if not corrupt. And, sir, it should not surprise this House that the people of Mangawhai are ropeable about the situation. So what is to be done? And the previous speaker talked about how difficult it is for the commissioners, how difficult it is for the current Kaipara District Council. And I think that the underlying sense in much of this debate is that someone has to pay this debt. If it's not going to be the people of Mangawhai and people of Kaipara District Council, is it to be the rest of the taxpayers in New Zealand? Is that what should happen? And I think most people would say, well, I'm not sure that the rest of the taxpayers in New Zealand should be bailing out the people of Kaipara because the elected councillors and officials of Kaipara District Council made a series of appalling decisions on their behalf. The Mangawhai Residents and Ratepayers Association have carried out a rates strike. That is what has brought this bill to the House. That is why the commissioners are unable to go about their business and achieve their task of sorting the finances out, getting the council back on track. Now, the reason that the Mangawhai Residents and Ratepayers Association oppose this bill, the reason they don't want to see a validation, is that it will completely undermine any leverage they have in trying to engineer another kind of solution. What would they like to see? They would like to see a deal brokered that involved extracting payment from the auditors, from Audit New Zealand, as Mike Sabin was saying, who inexplicably, repeatedly signed off the most bizarre decisions and financial commitments. Claims against the former councillors, claims against the Chief Executive and staff of the council. I think it's their view, sir, the Mangawhai Residents and Ratepayers Association, their view that their leverage to get some kind of burden sharing solution will be undermined by this validation bill is a reasonable position to take. And I think that it's incumbent on this House and the Select Committee to consider, from a public policy sense, what is a fair and reasonable solution to this problem, regardless of whether, as Nicky Wagner just told the House, those matters are outside the scope of this bill. This bill has been brought to the House by the Commissioners so that they can do the job they were tasked to do by the government. But I think there is a moral obligation on the House to consider what is a fair and ethical and enduring solution for the people of Kaipara District Council, from Kaipara District, and particularly the people of Mangawhai. I question whether or not it is fair that this solution should proceed before the Auditor General has reported and before the High Court action has been allowed to run its course, sir? I think those are reasonable questions to ask. So there are many questions surrounding this bill. Labor supports it to select committee, but we do so with reservations.
Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 18 pages of this